Welcome back, it's 9, and today I have a big video for you guys. We are talking about a state of play in August, talking about Sucker Punch, possibly having a new game upcoming, Xbox announcing their showcase, and possibly acquiring WB Games. But before we get into that, hit the subscribe button if you haven't subscribed already. Hit that notification bell to get notified about all my upcoming videos, and hit the like button. It helps the channel a ton. Now let's get right into it, and we're going to start with this article that comes from PSU.com titled, Sony has reportedly held first and third-party announcements back for August State of Play. Replying to a tweet talking about how big the scope is for this August State of Play, Tom Phillips stated Sony has first and third-party stuff still to announce. Feels like it has quite smartly held some stuff back. This is apparently how Sony will fire back after Xbox's first-party showcase, which will take place on July 23rd. So there's a lot of rumors around this. People are talking about Silent Hill being one of them. We're talking about Deathloop having another showing. We're talking about Starfield. We're talking about possibly the Suicide Squad and Batman games, and even talking about Japan Studios' rumored sci-fi game codenamed Race Space. So there's a lot to be shown, and I imagine that they'll probably throw Call of Duty in there or something. They probably have some sort of deal with them like they did with the PS4 generation. So it's exciting news. We know that Xbox has their event very soon on the 23rd of July, and of course, they're going to be bringing their big guns. They really want to show what the Xbox brand has to offer. And knowing Sony, at least with their track record, we know that they usually strike back pretty fiercely. So hopefully, we'll see that continue into their next showcase with the State of Play in August. But on to the next article. This comes from PSU.com as well, titled Sucker Punch renews infamous domain, new PS5 game in development. So we know that Sucker Punch is hiring for a new game, and this kind of ties in with the infamous thegame.com being renewed. And honestly, it shouldn't really come as a surprise because Infamous 1 and 2 were really good games. They were well reviewed. Most people enjoyed them, so I could see them making a return. Obviously, Second Son did not have the same impact on the community, but of course, that doesn't mean that there's no love and power left in the Infamous series. So with that said, I think we got to look at this kind of with a grain of salt, of course. It doesn't necessarily mean that their next game is going to be an Infamous game, but I do think that they're definitely working on a PS5 game already. They might have a small team working on it, but definitely I think we're looking at a PS5 game eventually happening. I do not think that it's going to be a port of Infamous Second Son. I think that's just wild. The game didn't do that well to begin with, so why would they go back to that? If anything, I could see them remastering the originals over this, but even then, I don't see that happening. I think they're going to be doing a whole new game just for the PS5, probably Infamous. It's also going to depend on how Ghost of Tsushima does, and also if that even ends with an open ending. Maybe they don't plan on going back to that IP anytime soon, but overall, I could see Sucker Punch doing something big in the next generation, naturally, especially with how well they've been doing since their inception into the PlayStation brand. Now, looking at the other side of the spectrum, we are moving on to the Xbox brand, and this is a big deal, guys. This is pretty much Xbox's moment to shine. If they're going to shine, it is time now, especially with just how well the PlayStation 5 showcase went. So Xbox tweeted out that their event will be on July 23rd at 9 a.m. Pacific. And this is a big deal. I mean, we need to see Microsoft bring the big guns. It's time. It's time for them to show what they're working on. And the best way for them to do that is to definitely not be holding anything back and just showing stuff that's coming out in 2020. That would be wild. I think they need to show us what's coming out in the next 2, maybe even 3 years to truthfully compete with the PlayStation brand. We know that PlayStation has brought it last event, and that's not going to stop anytime soon. We know that PlayStation really does have a lot of IP. They have a lot of studios, and at this point, Xbox has a lot of studios. In fact, they have the most first-party studios, so there's no excuse for them anymore. They need to bring their exclusive game. They need to show it all on July 23rd, because if they flop this time, people are truthfully just going to lose even more faith in the Xbox brand. That's including myself. If I'm owning an Xbox, I need to be using it for their games that I cannot play on the PlayStation platform. So hopefully, they will really do something out here for us as the fans wanting to spend a lot of time on our Xbox consoles. But that's going to bring us to our next topic, and that is coming from PSU.com, titled, Microsoft are reportedly interested in acquiring WB Games. This is huge. This is not something small. Mind you, I would take this with an enormous grain of salt because there's been a lot of crazy rumors like this before when it comes to PlayStation, when it comes to Microsoft, and pretty much none of them on this scale have ever come true. But anyway, this says Microsoft are reportedly interested in acquiring WB Games after EA, Take-Two, and Activision expressed interest. And a new report from theinformation.com, the company has apparently expressed interest in acquiring the games division of Warner Brothers. This report does state that apparently Warner's parent company, AT&T, hasn't decided whether to actually sell the division, but it sees it as an option to pay off some of the $154 billion in debt the company has. This acquisition would mean that Rocksteady, WB Games Montreal, NetherRealm, Monolith Productions, TT Games, and a number of other support studios would be developing games for Microsoft, and IP like Mortal Kombat would go directly to Microsoft as a part of their first-party lineup. However, Batman and Harry Potter would likely not be given in this deal and instead be licensed out. Of course, with Microsoft expressing interest, this could mean that any Mortal Kombat games in the future are Xbox exclusives, and the incredible talent at these studios would no longer release games on the PlayStation consoles. So this is what makes it huge. This is what would be a power move for Microsoft. To acquire Mortal Kombat IP, that would be insane. Obviously, all these studios, very, very good studios that have proven themselves over time. And I know there's a ton of Batman fans, and this would truthfully be the perfect counter to the Spider-Man games. Mind you, I enjoy Spider-Man way more than I'd ever enjoy Batman, but that's a debate for another video. So this would be huge. This is something that Microsoft, if they can do it, if they can convince them to sell, would be a huge win for them, and maybe they would start to come off even more competitive than ever. Obviously, we've been wanting to see this side of Microsoft, a competitive side, a side that we haven't seen since the 360 days, truthfully, in early 360 days. And I miss that. I miss seeing these companies go head-to-head, trying to provide the consumer with the best products, the best games. And really, we haven't seen that from Microsoft, but we've been seeing a ton of that with the PlayStation brand when it comes to the games, when it comes to the console, at least at the start of last generation. So let's just see where this takes us. I don't know how true any of this is, but of course, it's always interesting to talk about these things and speculate on them. But I'm going to pass this on to you all now, and I'm going to ask you guys, what do you think we could see at the August State of Play? You think we're going to be seeing some really big titles? Let me know what your thoughts are about that. Do you think Sucker Punch will be revisiting Infamous for the PS5, or do you think they're working on something totally different? Are you excited for the Xbox Games Showcase on July 23rd? And what do you think of this potential acquisition? Let me know in the comments, and as always, please like, subscribe, hit that notification bell to get notified about all my upcoming videos. Follow me on Twitter, link will be in the description, and share this video with a friend. I will talk to you guys on the next one. Take care.
Why do I do this? I'm still stuck back in